Hi, I'm Jim Ziris, Vice President of Hotel Sales for Golden Nugget, Atlantic City, and you're watching South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux.
Welcome to South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux. Thank you for joining us as we share information, tips, and techniques that can make our business community and your business more successful. Thank you to Stockton University for the opportunity to produce this show focusing on business in South Jersey. In just a moment, we will talk with Jim Ziris, Vice President of Hotel Sales for Golden Nugget Atlantic City. I've known Jim for over 20 years, and I have watched as he has built, grown, and marketed conventions and hotel sales offerings with a brand and commitment to the customer that is second to none. Jim Ziris also works hard to support the community while making it look easy and enjoyable. Throughout his professional career and personal life, Jim has created a stronger industry while focusing on family and fun. So let's get right down to business with today's featured guest. Jim, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for those nice words. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's an honor to have you here. Let's go right to it and talk a little bit about your role. What is it exactly you do for Golden Nugget Atlantic City?
So I'm the Vice President of Hotel Sales for Golden Nugget Atlantic City, and basically what that means is I'm responsible for bringing in the groups to the property, whether it be a meeting or a convention, a wedding, a trade show, a number of ways to do that, you know.
Let's go back to the beginning. You had to choose a path, right? Your career path, and I know you've worked in the industry for a long time. Talk to us about the beginning of that journey. How did that start out? Where did it start out? And maybe bring it up to today.
So as you know, I was a local kid, grew up in Northfield. I had pretty humble beginnings in my hospitality management career, and it was in 1984 that I became a front desk agent at Resorts International, working the midnight to 8 shift. I think I was making like $7 an hour. And I just fell in love with the industry. I fell in love with the excitement of the casinos and the hotel aspect of it. So I got into hotel operations and then later got into hotel sales.
So let's get into education a little bit. I know you, and I know you're always going to seminars, workshops, educational sessions that are industry specific, but you also have an educational background in the work that you do. Can you talk a little bit about your educational path and where you are today?
When I was starting out in the industry and I had a love for it, I continued with classes in hospitality management, pursued an associate degree through TV Community College, and then went on to Rutgers University, the School of Business, and received a bachelor's degree for hotel and restaurant management. But there's also a lot of industry organizations that surround meeting profession and hospitality management. So I continue with continued education there. I call it the alphabet soup of our industry. So you've got groups like PCMA, the Professional Convention Management Association, MPI, Meeting Professionals International, ASAE, American Society of Association Executives. So I'm constantly going to their chapter events, I'm constantly reading their publications and interacting with members on trends and best to do.
As I said, I've known you for 20 years, and this wasn't one of the scripted questions, but I am going to add this to it. You also teach and mentor a lot of people. How important is that to the work you do? Because you're always volunteering to bring a group in or to teach a class.
I love doing that. I've done a presentation for so many of the hospitality management programs, and I was an adjunct professor for TV Community College with their catering and special events, and absolutely loved the interaction with the students. But just last week, I did a presentation for St. Augustine Prep. And I've got a formalized presentation I do first, which is the history and evolution of Atlantic City. So it goes all the way back to like 1786 up until the casino industry. And a lot of people are fascinated about how much history in hospitality and tourism that this area has.
That's awesome. We have time for one more question in this segment.
Sure.
with your, you said, talked about the history and what you've learned, but how do you stay current? Because the industry is always changing, right? There's new things that you can add to conventions, new elements. How do you stay current on all that good stuff?
You've got to be well-read and don't be afraid to ask questions. You ask meeting professionals who are coming in what they're seeing. I'm all about trends. You know, where does AI fit into the future of what we're doing? And a lot of times you'll get a lot of the answers that way. Don't be afraid to ask the questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, you seem like you're not only taking advantage of best practices, but you're creating some best practices along the way, I bet.
Trying to.
All right, sit tight. We got more to do. Let's check out how you can connect with South Jersey business through social media. And then we'll be right back with more business talk featuring Jim Zeers, Vice President of Hotel Sales for Golden Nugget Atlantic City, on South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux. And we're back with today's featured guest, Jim Zeers, Vice President of Hotel Sales for Golden Nugget Atlantic City. Jim, once again, thanks for being part of the show.
Thank you.
Let's dive right into it. How do you describe and define success?
Success, well, is a couple different ways to look at it. For one, the success of my customer. Are they coming here to Golden Nugget to have a great meeting, convention, and what are their goals and objectives? So I've got to find that out in the interview process of talking to each other, seeing how we can best partner. And if you get to that success level, then everyth's great. They leave happy, they had value, but also success is, from my employer's standpoint, was that a good group? Did it help move the needle? Was it in on a dead Monday or Tuesday in February or any first quarter that people normally wouldn't be in the property?
Speaking of that success, every time you turn around, you're bringing in a new group or developing this new line of opportunity for your employer or for the industry. So how important is that network? I mean, I got to believe it's based on the network, right? That allows you to pick up the phone and work some magic and get somebody here to come to Atlantic City. Is that the way it works?
It is. I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist. It's about relationships. And so you have to really connect with your clients and make them want to come and stay with you and trust you that you're going to oversee their meeting or convention or wedding. You know, I'm dealing with the mother of a bride. That is the most important day. Yeah. Then you cannot drop the ball on that. So all these things are important. It's relationship selling, it's trust, and it's respect for one another.
That's really a great answer, and I think that's important because you're putting yourself in that person's shoes, and you're figuring out what they need, and you're fulfilling that either that promise or obligation or that need. Yeah, that's awesome. You worked with, and you work with, and you continue to work with a dynamic group of people. How do you find, or should I say continue to find, quality people to join the team? Because everywhere I've known you've been, you have had quality people working with you. How do you accomplish that?
That's a great question. I have to tell you, I started at the Golden Nugget August 1st, so I've been there a little bit less than a year, and I was amazed at the longevity of a lot of the workers there. They love being there. They have long careers there, and I think it's really a kind of like a family atmosphere. You know, from a banquet perspective, when we have 1,000 people in for a dinner, and all of a sudden I'm seeing player development folks helping direct people to, who've never been to the property before. You know, it's that can-do attitude that it doesn't always exist, and I'm really fortunate to be in a place that it does.
Wow, that's really good. That's a perfect answer. Talk to me a little bit about one of the most important business lessons you've ever learned. Let's go there.
It's almost a life lesson more than a business lesson, but it trickles over. And that's to do the right thing for the right reason, no matter if anybody's watching or not. Yeah. Don't worry about getting a pat on the back. You know what needs to be done. It's the right thing to do. Just get the job done and get to the goal.
All right, I was going to save this question, but I'm just going to ask it.
Do it.
You mentioned father of the bride, or mother of the bride, and you're going to be the father of the bride. You got two beautiful daughters. You got a son who you should probably talk about, and a loving wife that supports you with all the stuff you do, right? Talk about the balance. How do you, you are constantly on forward motion, right? How do you balance everything you just described in the work life and still manage to have time and focused time for your wife, Donna, and your daughter, Lauren, your daughter, Emily, and your son, James? How do you do it, Jim?
Well, I think it's all interconnected, you know, and that's why I don't say, here's my social life, here's my family life, here's my business life. I will come home and tell a story of the characters I met that day, of what happened, and I share that. And I love sharing that. And I love live music, as you know, and I share that with my family, and I am blessed to, you know, be in a position where they don't kick and scream to go see Dave Matthews with me. You know, so it's all intertwined, and that's kind of how I look at it.
That's a great answer. And guess what? We got more questions coming up, and you're going to need more answers, but sit tight for now, okay?
Deal.
All right. Up next, we're putting Jim to the test with the M4 Big Money question right here on South Jersey Business. But first, a quick look at how you can check out past episodes of the show. As you are aware, management, marketing, money, and media are the essential parts of any business. And when you are the Vice President of Hotel Sales for Golden Nugget Atlantic City, you need to know how to mix up all 4 M's. So it's time for the M4 Big Money question with today's featured guest, Jim Ziris, Vice President of Hotel Sales for Golden Nugget Atlantic City. Jim, are you ready?
I think I am.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. Management, talk to us about your management style.
I've always been an open door policy manager, roll up your sleeves, you know, help alongside, you know, if banquet servers need help and we're getting ready to open the door, everybody just rolls up the sleeve, and I like that. And I think if your workers see you doing that, you earn their respect as well.
That's great. Let's go to M number 2, which is marketing. Let's talk about how traditional forms of how you market to your people that you're trying to reach.
Yeah. Well, advertising, it's, you know, the concept of fishing where the fish are. So within the big casino, I've got a little piece of it, which is the meetings and convention, the group size. So I might be fishing a little bit differently than the larger casino marketing. So I'm going after meeting professionals, event professionals, things like that. So I'm putting ads in certain publications and doing direct mail pieces and email blast to that direct audience.
Yeah, they're all great traditional forms of marketing. Money, how important is, because you're either given a budget or someone comes in with a budget, you need to stick to that, but also, you know, you spend money to make money too. So how important is money to the equation when you talk about a hotel, casino?
I'm going to kind of parallel on that last question that I did. Money is kind of 2 ways. First, I am responsible for bringing in revenue into the property, making a group who I bring in profitable, but also on the other side with the customers, giving them a value. They're going to pay a lot for food and beverage, for audiovisual, for overnight accommodations, for gourmet restaurants. So it's providing that value for the money that they're spending at the Golden Nugget.
That's great. Unlike some of the businesses we speak to in South Jersey, you have a national brand behind you. You have national spending for some of the marketing and some of the media attention you get, plus all the platforms that you have. How important and how do you use, I should say, how do you use media, not just the PR part, but also the social media part, to get your messaging across?
Social media is key, whether it be X or Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on there every day, commenting to people that are friended in with me and learning and getting the word out about what we're doing in Atlantic City. Whether it be, that could be like not group related per se, but it could be a whiskey fest or a wine fest that we're having. Something open to the public that I think is of value to my LinkedIn, people that I'm connected to.
Absolutely. Before we get to the final question, there's one other question I want to ask you. I mean, you have to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of total followers that have experienced your property. Do you find that that works well because that international brand is so strong?
I do. When I'm calling people, they know exactly who the Golden Nugget is. A lot of people don't realize that we're under the same umbrella as all the Landry's restaurants.
Okay.
And that could be the Palm or Morton's or Vic and Anthony's or the Chart House, Bubba Gump Shrimp, Rainforest Cafe. And a lot of people don't have that knowledge of that connection. I talk frequently with my counterpart in Las Vegas, or whether it be our Lake Tahoe property or St. Charles, and kind of say, hey, what are you seeing here? Or, I have a group that just met on the East Coast. They're looking for a West Coast location. So, it's those synergies as well.
That's great. So, final question. What's your favorite M and why?
I'm going to go with media. I am a huge music fan, as you know, live music, and I just think it puts me in a good place. You walk into my office, and I'm always listening to music in the background. I draw on experiences from my live music experiences, and also, love lyrics, and they talk to me over the years, and it keeps me at a good level. So I'm always been passionate about music, and so I would say that falls under the media. That M is my favorite.
I love it, and I love that answer. All right, thank you for sharing the answers to the M4 Big Money question.
Certainly.
There you have it. Jim Ziris, Vice President of Hotel Sales for Golden Nugget Atlantic City's well-balanced mix of management, marketing, money, and media. We have some more business content coming up, including another segment with today's featured guest. So stick around for more South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux. Jim, we have so many guests that come on the show that have a community connection, that work with their community, and you are a prime example of that. Can you talk a little bit about how that started for you and when that started, when you started getting involved in your community?
Well, I mean, I got into my industry because I believe in the hospitality piece of it, right? Kind of like ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen was always a concept, I thought. So I value that service aspect of it. It's the right thing to do. So I've always, ever since my kids were little, got involved with their school system, Linwood Education Foundation, kind of running their fundraisers, and I've always tended to move towards the fundraiser aspect of it, because you can see exactly where the dollars go to benefit the organization. So that's always kind of been my niche over the years in helping different organizations out.
And I've been part of those as well. And when you talk about someone making it rain for a charity to be able to procure items that are not only interesting, but also well bid on silent auctions and the gift bag auctions, you've just done an amazing job. Plus those relationships you have been key.
That is key, and I have found over the years that people want to help other people. So there are so many that don't ask, and you have to ask, and you have to and not be aggressive about it. If they say no and the time's not right, you've got to respect that. But you first have to ask, and if they could share the vision of what you're trying to achieve for that organization. I'm just blown away at how many times that people, their overall generosity.
Yeah, the generosity is key. And like you said, they don't even know how they can help, but when you give them an opportunity, they are willing to help. That's great. So that continued, that same sort of thing, not just on the giving and fundraising side, but also with your time and talent of things like coaching, right? Talk about your decades-long coaching of many sports teams.
It was a real labor of love, because when you're coaching, for me it was youth soccer, And it's time consuming. But I miss that more than anything now. My kids are grown and out of the house, and there's no coaching, there's no running here on Saturday or Sunday for the games. There were times, our age range was such that it was divide and conquer for Donna and I. She's heading up this way for a soccer game, I'm heading the other way, and we'll meet in the middle for dinner. But I miss that.
You know what's interesting, and you made me think of this, and I think you're going to agree. The thing that people don't tell you about is how valuable that time in the car, 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, if you have two kids going to the same place, and even the divide and conquer. Right. Your wife had the private time with some of your children. You had 3 of them, so you, again, divide and conquer. And so did you. Do you look back on that and realize how much value that gave to your parent-child relationship?
I crack up thinking about the conversations, or all their friends in the back, and they just talk freely. And I learn more about music, pop music, than I ever would have. Right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's stay on track because I kind of took us on a tangent. Your industry. That also requires you, and when I say require, it points you in a direction to get involved in certain charitable aspects, correct? So talk to some of those current examples. Like I know you do a lot in hospitality industry, specifically with the institution here, but can we talk a little bit about that and give us some examples of how that plugged you into the community even more?
Right. I love the fact that I spend time on the advisory board of both the Atlantic Cape Community College and Stockton University's hospitality management programs. And we've got great teams that are in place that give feedback to the instructors, host and be mentors for the students, look at job opportunities for those students. And that's really can be rewarding. On the business side, I sit on the board of the Chamber of Commerce, Southern New Jersey. I have for a number of years, and that's been very helpful for me with all the connections of Greater Philadelphia business owners who are times looking for a location for their holiday party for their company, or coming down for a New Jersey State League of Municipalities. And so I have received direct business from that, but it's giving back, it's advocating on behalf of business.
I think you just did a really good job summing up my final question, which was how important has the community connection been to both your professional and personal relationship? Anything you want to add to that? Because you just did a really nice job framing it up.
As much as you give, you get back more in return. And it's that feeling of doing the right thing, like I say, at the right time when nobody's watching. I have seen over the years, the hospitality industry at times has looked like the hostility industry. and it's not supposed to be that way. Yeah. It's not that hard. Have a smile, engage the customers in conversation. If they're looking around, they're lost, help them. Yeah. It's not that hard to take that extra step and do the right thing.
Your kindness and your experience shows you do a great job. I'm personally going to thank you for everything you've done in our community to make our community better.
Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, the guests here at South Jersey Business exemplify what it precisely means to be committed to their local community. Thanks again to Jim Ziris and everyone at the Golden Nugget Atlantic City for everything they're doing to help our community. And now it's time to shine the spotlight on Jim Ziris and gain some extra illumination on exactly what Golden Nugget Atlantic City offers and brings to the community right here in South Jersey. Jim, thank you for allowing us to turn the spotlight on the work you do and Golden Nugget's work.
Thank you.
So let's just start right from the beginning. What is it exactly you do at the Golden Nugget Atlantic City?
I'm the Vice President of Hotel Sales, which means I'm responsible for bringing in all of the groups, whether that be through a meeting, a convention, a banquet, a trade show, a wedding, a number of different ways to bring them onto the property.
Okay, so that's a huge undertaking, and you're just one man. So how does that actually occur? How do you, as an organization, get that done? Take me through some of the how of that.
So I deal directly with the meeting professional or the executive director or whoever it is that brings that meeting or event there. But I'm not the one delivering the service. I am so relying on the front desk, the housekeeping, the banquet staff, the people who are cleaning the property, the bellman, the doorman. There's everybody within the property is the most important element of a successful meeting or convention.
And you're right, I just brought up another thing to the list, the people that move everything in and move everything out, right? To make sure that the stuff's on the convention floor, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, even the piano mover
yeah.
when you have some entertainment. Yeah, that's interesting. It is a huge undertaking, but you guys do a great job. So let's get to the who part of this. Who is the customer? Who are you working with? And I know that goes beyond just regular customers because you work with vendors and things like that as well, right? So who is the customer? Who do you do this work for?
On any given day, I could be dealing with a general president of an international union to bring in an event, or like I said, a mother of a bride, an executive director of a state and regional association, or vice president of human relations for their company. So there's all different market segments that make up the group business. And each of them have their own special needs and desires and goals. That's a day in the life.
All right, well, then now it's time to look in the mirror and talk about why you do what you do personally. I know why the organization does it, because it's a business and it's there to provide this service. But what drives you, Jim Sears? What makes you get up in the morning, and why do you do what you do?
That is so true. I've been very fortunate throughout my long entire career. I have always jumped out of bed looking forward to getting into work. I just love what I do. And I think I feed off of that excitement, the adrenaline. Every day is different. We have a social group that is coming in with a lunch for 400. And it's important for them because that's a fundraiser and they're earning money for their organization. So we're going to do whatever it takes, exceed their expectations.
What is one of your most, I know you love getting up and going to work every day, but there's another thing there. What is it that really you enjoy most about the work you do? Give me one thing that really drives you.
I think sharing, going back to that, sharing with family, sharing with coworkers, sharing with the executives that are looking at me to bring in new business and profitable business. So kind of, like a little check mark, like, I gave a really good day's work today.
Yeah. It's the pride in the work you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've been that way since day one. And when I don't feel that way, that might be time to hang up my hat, but I'm not there yet.
No, clearly.
Nope.
So how fortunate is it that you get to do that every day, something you love, you do it really well, you get paid to do it, right, and you're making someone's day or someone's year or someone's event that much better? How fortunate are you?
I love it. I absolutely love it. So clients have become longtime friends, and you always have to be genuine. I found out, like have a genuine appreciation for what this person is bringing in, but they have a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell. So how can you dig into that? So I want to know about their family. I want to know that they're an Eagles fan or a Giants fan, and then I'll write them off if they're a Giants fan. But I want to know what makes them tick musically, you know, and those common denominators are what is the longevity of the relationships.
Well, I think I'm going to use fortunate one more time, actually two more times. I'm fortunate that you're in the position you are to bring that business to Atlantic City and care about the people so much that they want to keep coming back. And I'm also fortunate, we're fortunate that you were allowing us to share the spotlight today on Golden Nugget and the work that you do.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
That was today's spotlight, providing a clear view of what Golden Nugget Atlantic City is all about. We'll be right back. Well, that's the show. We had a solid business discussion with Jim Sears, Vice President of Hotel Sales for Golden Nugget Atlantic City. Once again, thank you to Stockton University and everyone that makes this program possible. Let's do it again next time. And until then, let's get growing, South Jersey. Thanks for watching.